A new era of the Dallas Cowboys getting underway. Mike McCarthy named the new head coach, former Packers coach for 13 years, Super Bowl champion 2010, 6 division titles. The resume goes on and on. But did the Cowboys get this hire right?
Jill, they got it right for all the reasons you just said. And here's why. Not only the pedigree part of it, the fact that he's actually won on the biggest stage, but it's the biggest stage part of it that I think is an indication that the Cowboys are serious about this. There are certain jobs on this planet where if you're going to be in the harsh spotlight, you better be able to take it. Dallas Cowboys is one of those jobs. Now, as mundane as they've been over the last decade plus, 2 decades, I would guess you'd say, there are certain jobs. The Cowboys were the top-rated NFL game 11 of 14 weeks this year because they're the Dallas Cowboys. You've got to be the guy who could step into that position and succeed. And here's the thing, everyone wanted Matt Rule, they wanted Lincoln Riley, they wanted just go down your checklist of coaches, Dan Mullen. I just didn't think a college coach should step into that kind of a harsh spotlight. Without
a question, Mike McCarthy, not necessarily the flashy hire or the sexy hire, but his experience speaks for himself. And he led an iconic franchise, a successful iconic franchise for over a decade. How much will his previous experience running that franchise, having a Super Bowl winning quarterback, how much will that transfer over to the Dallas Cowboys? Well, and it's the quarterback part of it that's very interesting because Mike McCarthy is kind of a quarterback whisperer. I mean, he worked with Aaron Rodgers, very strong personality, very strong ego, and was able to be his head coach and to succeed as a partnership. I think the Cowboys are looking at Dak Prescott, and they're at that precipice. Where are we with Dak Prescott? Are we going to franchise him? We're going to do these kind of things. Mike McCarthy's the guy that will put his finger on the pulse as far as how good is Dak Prescott, what can he be, and just take that quarterback to the next level if it's available. I think that's another big part of this hire is that Jerry Jones said, here's a guy who could take a quarterback and make him all that he can be. And I think that's what they'd like to see with Dak Prescott. If he can't do it under Mike McCarthy, then they'll know. And that's why I think they'll franchise him for a year, maybe 2, while Mike McCarthy works with him. McCarthy said in his introductory press conference that his offense runs through the quarterback. And he was impressed with Dak, is impressed with Dak, because not only can he run an offense on his own, he can then do more than that. It comes a little more and then some when it comes to Dak Prescott. But how do you see this new offense changing and developing under McCarthy? I think Mike McCarthy will play to the strengths of the quarterback. And I think that's what's going to be interesting as he watches Dak Prescott. He already has, of course, probably watching all kinds of film now, especially, and be able to say, look, what are the strengths of this guy? And the one thing that we all know that needs to be worked on with Dak Prescott is accuracy. He's got the arm strength, he's got the savvy, he's got the wherewithal to move in the pocket and do some of the things that need to be done there. But can he be accurate with his throws? That's another thing, just tactically, technically, can he do the kind of things that he needs to do to win ball games in those critical moments? A lot of great questions, and he actually spent this past year away from the NFL. However, he kept in coaching shape. We'll talk about that coming up later on in the break. Richard back with us again, talking more Cowboys, talking more about their new head coach, Mike McCarthy. He spent this last year away from the NFL. He was let go from the Packers in 2018, but he kept himself in coaching shape. He assembled his own coaching staff, and they watched tape. They went over different schemes, analysis of players in the league. How important was this past year for him, both personally, but also as a coach, being ready for when he got the phone call from Jerry Jones? Well, it's obviously when you look at Mike McCarthy and you listen to him, the man is passionate about football, and he talked about it in an interview just a few days ago, the idea that he and his family got very emotional about it. He and his family need football. It's been the foundation of his life, certainly professionally, over the last several decades. I think, when you take a year off like that and you invest yourself in getting better at what you do, with the idea of coming back fresh, coming back stronger, coming back mentally plugged in more than you were before, I think it could only be a positive. But I know one thing from all the interviews, and you were up there for it, this is a man who is prepared for this. This is a man who is prepared for this moment, who acknowledged that the Dallas Cowboys job is different than any other kind of job that he might have taken. But also, he's ready to kind of showcase what he's learned over the last year.
I love that. I love the fact that he just is so passionate about it and emotional about it. And so the Cowboys can only benefit from that after 9 years of having kind of a robotic guy on the sideline.
Jerry Jones said that he had Mike McCarthy over to his house that Saturday before they made that announcement official, and he said that he blew him away, that he made the decision so much easier for Jerry because he was so impressed with McCarthy and all the things that you just said, not just the resume, but his love for coaching, the game, the football part of it. So much so that, you know, Jerry pulled the trigger right after he announced the firing of Jason Garrett, less than 12 hours. Is it at all concerning that the Cowboys only interviewed two head coaches, two candidates, and they made this decision so quickly, the biggest decision for this franchise?
I feel like the Cowboys were targeting Mike McCarthy for a while. I really feel like when you look at what was going on with Jason Garrett, where the direction of the season was going, the suspicion that the Cowboys weren't going to maybe exceed to the level that we all thought they were, I think the Cowboys they had their hooks in the water for a while. And I think Mike McCarthy was one of those guys that, of course, you look at because he checks off all those boxes. Quarterbacks coach, Super Bowl championship coach, has a pedigree at a very strong market. You know, he's been able to do some different things with the Green Bay Packers, a legendary franchise, another legendary franchise. So, Jill, in my mind, again, I'm feeling a little, mysterious about this, but I think the Cowboys were on this guy for a while.
How about this? First year, next year, he has a talented squad. What do you expect from him in year one?
12 wins, playoffs, maybe for the first time in a while, go to the NFC Championship game. I really think he's worth 4 or 5 more wins in a season than Jason Garrett.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. New era for the Dallas Cowboys. Richard, thank you so much.
No, my pleasure.